You better tune into Sonera and House of Consciousness, bringing street lectures, Shemitic and Kemetic scholars and professors. Now Valley Consciousness and manifesta. You better tune into Sonera and House of Consciousness, bringing street lectures, Shemitic and Kemetic scholars and professors. Now Valley Consciousness and manifesta. Teaching from the Moors, the nation of Islam, got the gods in the earth, 5% nation. Kabbalah and astrology, we got the zodiac. Occult, scientific, with a dose of black with Jack. We got the Hebrew script, metal nature. Codify the scripts, activate our nature. Can't forget Hanuabi and the Rastafarian. Haile Selassie, the throne of Ethiopia, the womb of creation, the land of the nature. Get up on your game and tune in the Sinetta. It's the womb of creation, the land of the nature. Get up on your game and tune in the Sinetta. Got the womb of creation, the land of the nature. Get up on your game and tune in the Sinetta. With the womb of creation, the land of the nature. Get up on your game and tune in. You better tune in to Sonera and House of Consciousness, bringing street lectures, Shemitic and Kemetic scholars and professors. Now Valley Consciousness and manifesta. You better tune in to Sonera and House of Consciousness, bringing street lectures, Shemitic and Kemetic scholars and professors. Now Valley Consciousness and manifesta.
Young men, you need to be paying 40 for 40 of us to eat. Crazy.
Anything for free, you want it.
You selling it. I'm about to eat something. You know anything from you? Just tell him Magi. He was really saying bring the magic.
I know where he at.
You know what
Vegan Mafia, man. We out here. New Covenant.
You know she charged $18 per person.
I got this.
Oh man,
Side better, man.
You always take care of me. I said, I need some tapes. You come from this $600 worth, so I can give you
need to be paying for everybody. He said for 40 people, 40 young men, you need to be paying 40 for 40 of us to eat.
this dude here, he eat like a damn. He's crazy.
That's right. We support Sinetta TV, man.
Woo! Who plate is that?
Well, I wish I was there because I wanted to go in on his ass too.
Yeah, I've been giving him crap.
Nice.
He's been talking stuff.
Where you get that from? Perry yesterday?
Yeah.
Perry. What's going on, the General? General, you was going in yesterday, brother. It's all good, though.
I was hoping my passport was still good this morning. You know,
I'm an attention junkie, man.
Hey, Seti, what's
I
this?
got the hottest shirt on in the table, man.
Oh man,
This is what it's about right here, man.
That's hard body, man. Only that nigga.
That's hot. That's
Tight. Correct.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all something, right? You see this brother right here? Professor James Smalls?
Charge it up.
This is one of the last one amongst us, I'm saying.
That's right.
One of our elders that's amongst us that associate with the youth. We gotta protect our brother.
Oh, yeah.
We can't let nobody offend him or go in on him. We gotta come together hard body. If anybody disrespect this man, who else? I could call him, and any of us can call him, and he's right there.
That's right.
When I called him to come in and moderate for Shaka and Zion, he said, "Brother, let me check my schedule. I'll call you back." He called me back within a half an hour. I'm there, brother.
Okay.
I'm there. He ain't asked me for no money, no nothing. It's up to us to say, "Here, brother, here's a donation."
Right.
You see, and I did give the brother a donation. You know, he ain't asked for nothing. I'll be there.
I can always say the same thing.
And who's
I'm traveling. I ain't got no tapes.
Yeah.
I need to make some money. He'll come and give me like, hey man, $600. What's the take?
Yeah.
So anytime you call, I'm rolling. But it's deeper than that. We have the one thing, Malcolm left for us, and a lot of people think they know Malcolm. I don't really know Malcolm. Malcolm wasn't the punk they're trying to turn him into. But Malcolm understood that it was about the youth, because the nation under Malcolm was youth. People don't understand it. The median age in the nation was like 16 to 25. Because he was recruiting youth. That's when the nation was powerful. And people don't understand it. It was the youth that ran the movement in the 60s.
Yep.
We had elders who guided us.
It's a fool.
But it was the youth. It was the youth. Panther Party median age was 15 to 21. Snake median age was like 16 to 24. It was the youth doing this movement. Dr. King had these brothers around. You gotta remember, Dr. King's in his 20s at this time. Everybody following him was from between 14 to 25. But on TV, they just show you the front line, the elders. They don't tell you the 90% was the youth. Streets. That's why the cracker went after the youth with the dope. That's what that was about. They know we got to kill the youth. And you don't have no movement. See? But we got to understand the plays and the players. Like the gay movement, that's not a new movement. That's a part of the same old Zionist Jew movement. See, when you understand that's just another tentacle they got, you know where to chop that shit off. But they scare a lot of people because people caught up in this religious shit and then you get confused and shit, See,
Let me say this real quick. This is what I was saying. He's the last one amongst us.
Yeah.
Dr. Ben has he moved on to the Egungos.
That's right.
He moved on to the Egungo.
That's right.
Dr. Clark moved on to the Egungos, to the other side. This is the real elder that we got left here, y'all. And now,
All those men were my teachers.
I'm not saying Dr. Leonard Jeffries, we love Jeffries.
No,
But I'm talking about the one that's amongst us. The one that we can call on if we have a problem within our circle. We call on this man right here. Yo, brother, we need eldership. We need you to come in here and help us. And please talk to so and so. Please, he's there. That's what I'm talking about. So we love our Dr. Leonard Jeffries. We love the rest of our elders. But I'm talking about this man in particular is here amongst us. And that's where I see myself in a couple of more years, right here sitting at the front. You see what I'm saying? I see myself right here because I deal with the youth. I realize that if it ain't about the youth, if we ain't got no movement with our young kids, we ain't got nothing. That's why you see me here with y'all. You know what I'm saying?
All through Ghana, there's a concept that everybody misses when they go. If you go into any town, you'll see a monument in the middle of the town. And that monument usually have a lion, a leopard, or a bird on it, some man stuff. That's the Asafo's shrine. It's not a statue, it's a shrine. The Asafo is the youth militia that guards the village. Every village got a youth militia. Every village got a youth militia. And they got their own chief, youth chief. They got their own youth priest. They all trained. And it's called the Asafo. That's throughout Ghana. So you go in the village, think them kids over there doing somebody think they're nobody. And niggas knife and machete and gun will pop out of everywhere you do some shit like that. And so people at home know you steal some shit in that village, I think you're gonna make it 20 guns. And Kennedy. Malana walked into the Holy of Holies. After Doc said nobody walked into the Holy of Holies. So Malana walked into the Holy of Holies. Next morning, I'm out there, me and Reggie, we lining up, the people get on the bus. Doc come and say, God damn it, this shit ain't. Threw up everything. Malana went back to his hotel and locked himself in for the day. Doc was like, when he got mad, that old man was like, on it. Because he didn't believe in left nor right. I remember when I went into home, I went back to principal. He was in the nursing home. You know how he does that little thing, then put his head down, look up at me, I say, boy, you can't serve two masters. So there was a big mirror on the wall, so I said, well, you taught me. So I went to the mirror and says, I'm looking, I only see one. So he went into this laughing thing, because some of us decided we were going to challenge Prince Hall. I went back in after 30 years, and they know who I am, so they call a Sanhedrin on me. They brought 10 of the past masters, right? So I go in this thing, and they're all sitting up in their little suits. Shit. Why do you want to come in here? So I said, I'm going to be real cute. I said, I'm coming because I understand if I join here, you make good men better. I said, we don't want to hear this shit. You know? We can't have no secrets released. So I said, brothers, the only secret you got is that there is no secret. And that's when the Grand said, listen, Small's coming in. Because me and the Grand was good friends. And when my two sons had gone in Netherlands, and my cousin took them in, but my cousin died from cancer a year later. So I'm not leaving my sons up in there. I need to go up and see what's going on. So they brought me in. I did one night I did all 3 degrees. Couldn't get up on the last one because my knees just wouldn't work after a while because you're going to like 3-4 hours of rituals, right? So I did the 3 degrees. Then I asked to be presented to my son's lodge. I wanted to be in their lodge, Cornerstone. So the first thing I did was did a lecture on Kemet a month later. They brought out all the big guns sitting right beside me. They must see you niggas. And the head of the education thing told me, you niggas must say everything come from Africa. Everything come from Africa. When I got through, the old man said, boy, you just convert me. Would you join the education committee? I told him I was too busy to join. But there are people in there who want to go where y'all are going. They got Asher's tapes, they got Doc's tapes, they're watching these tapes. So the last one I did, well, here's what happened as a result of me doing the first one. They sent the dude to sit in our lodge every week from the Grand East. So we said, well, why do you come to our lodge for our study group? Study group's on Friday night, every Friday night. He said, oh, just in case y'all need somebody you need to ask some questions. And the Grandmaster told me we need to have somebody from the education. But the thing about this is we got to see what them niggas are doing. They sat a whole year. You know what I did? I sat a whole year and never said nothing. Until young people do the lodge. At the end of the year, the red lodge, you had the blue lodge. The red lodge is where the spiritual shit goes. Right? So one of the priests from the red lodge asked me, says, would you come and do a piece on African spirituality? I said, okay, fine. So it got to be about a week and a half before I get a letter from the Grand East telling me, please don't reveal any secrets. So I don't answer the letter. So 3 days before my lecture, I get an email from the brothers, the priests, saying we had to change the format. Hope you don't mind. So when I get there, the format is I'm not lecturing anymore. They got a committee, and I'm on the committee. They got the head of the Shriners, the head of the Eastern Star, the head of the Prince Hall Educational College, and another one of the big boys. So I said, I'll just go back. So they all went out, and they all went right to the border of Africa, right to the border of Egypt, because they said, we ain't gonna give them no space, So we gonna claim Egypt. So they went all the way there. I said, fine. The sister who was the head of the Eastern Star happened to be my cousin, who I didn't know until she came in the room. So as soon as she spoke, she said, James, I ain't leaving because of you now. She knew I was about to kick ass. She laughed. So I said, well, everybody did their speech. And it's a real beautiful piece, too. They put as much Africa in that thing as they could to try and block me from doing anything. So I got up to do my speech. I said, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm God, having a human experience. Thank you. And I sat down. Everybody looked at me. Are you going to do a lecture? I just gave my lecture. I'm God, having a human experience. Thank you. So now let's go to questions and answers, and then I can do my lecture. Everybody want to know what's that about.
Professor, talk to us about some of the heated discussions that y'all had, like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, you, Dr. Leonard Jeffries. Talk to us about some of the debates that y'all had amongst yourself. And I know you was having these discussions with some Hebrews as well. Talk to us about that. Let us know that this is not new.
No, this is not new. Like Brother Mikhail, who was one of the chief architects of the Hebrew tradition, he's down in
got my gym clothes on.
Teaching now.
I got my gym
and he was one of my students at City. But Mikael was one of the cool Hebrew brothers because he invites me into the temple. He said, man, you need to come to the temple and teach this stuff. So my first time in a Hebrew temple was somewhere back in the early 80s in Brooklyn with Mikael. And another one of the Hebrew rabbis would come to my class every Saturday because I taught the religion classes there. We enrolled 200 kids every semester in that class. And so the class got so big, they moved it to Saturday, which was a punishment. I was the only one teaching on Saturday in the whole university system. Class swelled to 300, so so they decided they weren't going to pay me for all of the breaks. I told them, I'll teach the class for nothing. You don't want to pay me for it. But the antagonisms that you're getting from the young Hebrew community now, we didn't really have that antagonism because Dr. Ben was Hebrew. He's born into Bnei Israel. But Dr. Ben understood the board. Rabbi Matthews, who had the temple over there by the park, Rabbi Matthews was one of Malcolm's comrades. Most people don't know Dr. Ben was one of Malcolm's advisors. Before Dr. Clark. See, everybody jumped on the Dr. Clark thing. Dr. Clark was a Marxist back in those days.
He was a what?
A Marxist. He was with the Marxist community. So Dr. Ben, Rabbi Matthews, Nana Danny Zulu, Apari Danny Zulu, Baba Surgeman from the village in South Carolina. These men were around Malcolm X, advising Malcolm X. He wasn't just getting this Islamic shit. Okay, Malcolm understood what Islam was. It was a tool. When he and let me tell you a little secret. Let's come back to Malcolm and I come back to Dr. Ben, because Dr. Ben taught me more about Malcolm than Malcolm's family, except for Ella. That Father Divine, Daddy Grace. Today we may poo-poo them, but if you look and see what they were attempting to do and what their followers end up doing, it's two different things. So that's why the research is so important that you brothers are bringing out. You're bringing out real research. Most people don't do no research. They read one book and they out there doing a thing. So when Dr. Ben was vehement that you weren't going to change your course, I seen Dr. Ben beat up Dr. Clark. I seen Dr. Ben beat Van Sertima down to the floor with words. You understand? I mean, Doc didn't play. Yeah, because Dr. Ben knew where we were supposed to go. And when he put Kemet on the table, he didn't want to have no other discussion. All that other shit was shit. He was like, you cuss too much sometimes. A lot of people don't know that about Doc, but you know.
I know Doc was good.
When Doc get up, he get the cussing and stuff. And so, for youngsters like me, I didn't have no say. I didn't debate them. They were my elders. I just sat there and I listened. Get them their water, get them their food, pull it. So, you do what you're supposed to do. The dialogue was always between. But what was so beautiful, everybody paid deference to Dr. Ben. You didn't have a negative dialogue. The only one that he got in conflict with was Malana. Because Malana had an arrogant thing about him. And he felt because he had Malana, as much as he taught African, he's wedded to white scholarship recognition of him, which has always been his weakness. And when he got the first PhD, I remember him calling and asking me to talk to Lenny, because he wanted them to recognize his PhD and to talk to Dr. Ben. But Dr. Ben was our leader. He wasn't just the teacher of the now, he was the leader of the whole group. Dr. Jeffries didn't do nothing Dr. Ben didn't approve of. That's the way we were. Clark didn't do nothing out of Karimi that Ben disapproved of. And so when we were in Manchester having this big conference at the same time, the day before, the weekend before the Million Man March. And Skip Gates came. And wanted Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark, Dr. Jeffrey, Dr. Scobie to be with him. Remember that first piece he did on Sudan? Dr. Ben saw this nigga at the door talk to me. He was trying to get me to go talk to Doc. And Doc was lecturing, and he looks over and he sees Skip Gates at the door. There's a little thing where you come down. And Doc stopped his lecturing and cussed him out and told him to get out the room before he got up from the table. Yes. So, and Skip got the hell up out of there too, because he knew the old man, Doc still had his viral, man. And so that's the kind of dude he was. He didn't care nothing about no BBC money. He didn't care nothing about no TV money, because that's what Skip was from. He was saying, you know, BBC gonna pay us good, we gonna get a nice payday. Now look at him.
Yes, $1 billion.
One bill.
You want to take okay.
Unless you're gonna take it for us, honey.
I wish I could do it so that I can take care of you. I try, but it doesn't work, you know.
Just one and took this up.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, right.
But
That's true.
so Doc, the relationship he had with the other brothers was never really antagonistic, because people respect his eldership. And all of the people, Asa, Wade, Jake Carruthers, Dr. Jeffrey, everybody respect the primacy of Kemet. And they understood that Doc was the master. There was no discussion. And so he led everybody into Kemet. Because Asa was into educational psychology. Dr. J was into, look, let's get this piece, because this piece will explain the thing. See, everybody respect Dr. Ben's station. So we didn't have the negative dialogue. And remember, Dr. Ben was into Kemet. So he led everybody to Kemet, you know. Dr. Jeffries was into West Africa. Dr. Ben led him from West Africa to Kemet. Asa Hildy was into educational psychology. Dr. led Asa from educational psychology to Kemet. Wade Nobles was into black psychology development. He led Asa from that to Kemet. All these men went into Kemet studying and researching because Dr. Ben, they followed Dr. Ben. All of them was prominent in their areas. Shashi McIntyre was dealing with educational psychology and looking at the prison system. Matter of fact, she wrote the premier book on incarceration.
We going to work.
But Doc led her to Kemet. Same thing with Marimba Hani. Marimba thing was coming from a kind of a sociological and political thing. You know, it's Doc that led her to the whole spiritual thing and into Kemet. So there's nobody who was in that movement, no matter how powerful they were, where they were, from Asa to Jake to Dr. J, Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben led everybody to Kemet. So when ASCAC was started, it was, the first meeting was in California at Maulana's place, but Maulana started because Doc told him to make the call. Nobody's giving Dr. Ben credit for ASCAC. Now you got people who are homosexuals running ASCAC.
Say it ain't so. Well, I ain't been messing with ASCAC.
Like me, I left 25 years ago. Yeah, I left. But Ray Carr is homosexual. We don't know what Mario is, but that's his partner. So.
Mario Beatty.
Hey, I'm sitting there saying it, you know. The thing is,
Yo, you know you can't fit.
yeah, the truth is the light, brother. You know, but let somebody roll up on me and shit. I do not.
I already know.
So, ain't nobody gonna mess with me. They know the truth. See, my thing is this. It's very clear. Our culture is not a homosexual culture. It does not tolerate homosexuality. So you cannot have someone who buys into the homosexual culture, because it's not a genetic reality. It's a cultural choice. And so if you buy into that, you can't then come and lead me in an African direction. How the hell are you going to lead me? You know, that's like having the devil with his tail on fire leading God and shit. That ain't happening. And so we've got to be clear about that. I consider their brothers and sisters, we know, okay, they've been messed up, jammed up in their head. That's fine, then go get healed. Don't come and tell me that your sickness is now my ideological and cultural perspective. That
Let me
ain't
ask you
happening.
a question. Did you know the day that Malcolm X got shot at the Audubon Ballroom? Did you know that check this out, y'all. Did you know that the day that Malcolm got shot at the Audubon Ballroom, did you know Dr. Ben was there?
Of course. Dr. Ben and I have our own
I got
situation.
real footage of Dr. Ben walking past the police with his small hat.
That's Dr. Ben.
Was that the funeral or was that the when he got shot? I believe that was the funeral.
It might be the funeral.
When he had that.
Yeah, it's at the funeral. See, because
Footage,
oh
real
no,
footage.
Dr. Ben talks about it on one of his tapes. He actually posed the cover on me. I was AWOL and I wasn't supposed to be there, and then he's on the tape saying James Small was helping me throw the turn. And when I saw that one day, I go like, even though, you know, like I actually left the military without finishing my time. I said I ain't coming back. So they arrested me on 125th Street, and I was with Kwame Ture. I wrote them a letter saying, hell no, I won't go put it in the mail and send it back, but I sent them the letter. I was court-martialed right in New York. And they gave me an honorable discharge. I never figured out why. It took me 4 years to say that. Honorable discharge. How come I ain't coming back? By then, you know, I'm gonna hook up with Malcolm's thing, I'm with L, I was doing a lot of stuff, and they didn't want all of that spilling over into the ranks of the military, because they were stuck in Vietnam. Brothers was already killing their officers who were white for putting the brothers on the front line. Oh no, there was some deep stuff going on in the military now. That's right.
Talk to us about the deep stuff like back in the days with the Nation of Islam. You wouldn't dare open your mouth and say something negative, because back then the nation would deal with you. Today you can say whatever you want to say. They don't make them type of men no more.
Well, in the early days, I was never in the nation. Let's get that clear. I was never in the nation. But I met Malcolm while Malcolm was still in the nation in '63. But I knew the essence of the nation because I was his sister Ella's bodyguard. You know, Ella really helped develop the nation, but she and Malcolm had a conflict. He kicks his own sister out, you know. But he kicks Ella out. He kicked his brother Reginald. You know, Malcolm kicked Reginald out. He kicked Reginald out because Reginald told him about the baby days that Malcolm didn't want to believe that Reggie was telling the truth. So he kicked his own brother out. Matter of fact, they even hurt Reggie, you know. But some of that's family stuff, so I'll leave that where that belongs. But the thing is, the nation had soldiers in the early days that felt they were dedicated to the freedom of the total black nation. They weren't just talking about their thing. That's the difference between the nation of now and the nation of yesterday. The nation of yesterday felt that they were a vanguard party for the black community. The nation of today think they're just Muslims. That's what I'm saying. The difference between the nation of today and yesterday is a very simple difference. That nation saw themselves as black, as a vanguard of the black movement. The nation of today see themselves as Muslim, separate from the black people. And that's why they can't affect changes in the black community. The nation of yesterday opened businesses all over the black community. And good, clean, decent businesses that hired people from the community who weren't in the nation. Now they don't even have a candy store in most places.
Growing up all around my neighborhood, we had steak over there.
Brothers, but the fish, they brought it to your door on Saturday morning. You could go to a hardware store that the nation owned. It was all over the place.
So what happened to the businesses?
When Wallace came in with that Bilal shit, he dismantled the businesses. Let me tell you something about Bilal. As much as they do this history of Bilal as a fake thing, when I'm in Saudi Arabia in '75, that's when I made my Hajj. There was a brother helping me because they tried to arrest me, and they did arrest me, and I escaped from the American CIA in Saudi Arabia.
I was listening to Relax You were telling me about.
Yeah.
You went over there and couldn't get back.
They wouldn't let me out the country. They wanted me to die. I was sick. I had malaria. So they just wanted to let me stay there and die, so they refused to let me fly. So one day when the Americans picked me up, and I knew they had me, but at this Chase Bank. So I started crying. Hey man, I want to go home. I'm going with y'all. So you know, Malcolm X's nephew was with me. I gonna meet him at the airport. He want to go home too. Them stupid crackers bought it. They caught me 3 weeks later at Kennedy. But in the meantime, I damn near died over there. But the key thing about that whole thing, and when you go to Mecca, you see the play. You see the game. Except many of the brothers from over here buy into the game because there's money. When they realized who I was, and I went and met before what they call the Rabat Elim El Islamin, they call it Rabatam. That's the body that runs Islam worldwide. Most people don't even know it exists. It have representatives from all over the world, just like a Congress, right? We had a representative, and it was the Pakistani.
The Sunni and the Sunnite, all of them is...
No, the Sunni is not in it. The Shia is not in it. This is all Sunni, and all of their tentacles. Okay. And that's another story, the Shia thing. When I get in the inner circle and make my charges against them for racism, homosexuality, and the shit I saw going on over there, They offered me $1 million on the spot. I'm not lying. May the ancestors bury me at the table. I said, I don't want your money. They said, well, then why you come? I said, I came to bring the peace to the brothers in the West, and we're fighting for the Prince of Islam to y'all, and to take y'all peace back. They look at me like, this nigga crazy. You know? So they said, look, you know that mosque down on 96th Street in the big one? That's supposed to be mine. They offered me that. They offered me the imamship over there. It wasn't even built yet. It was just on the drawing board. I told them no. Then they offered me to have all the security. They gonna sign this. You know who used to do my security when I traveled abroad when I was an imam? The Ayatollah Khomeini's. Because the Shia decided, well, he don't want that. We gonna take him, you know. And then I realized, you know what? Ain't none of these people got black people's interests at heart. So I quit. So when I quit, they called the brothers in New York, told them to break one of my arms, break one of my legs, send me back to Boston. So the brothers said, no, we were brothers small. So they said, we going to the Italians. I mean, we'll take a contract over there and just do it. So I had to go into hiding for a while. And so when my mom, I'm in hiding, when my mom get on a Greyhound bus, drive to South Carolina, bought a Smith & Wesson 32 long, put it in a shoebox, mailed it back to Ride to the white woman she worked for, came back, come in my room with a shoebox full of bullets, said, you get your ass in my house, I don't raise cowards, all I want to know if you dead, two of them dead.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I got out the house that day, and Brother Stock and them, we decided to tell the other folks, including Malcolm's sister, we got the list of all your children go to school, all your grandchildren go to school, where your family live, and we put out the word, so kill me. Ain't nobody can take that word back. Then they decided, well, oh, you know, we love him. He like a son to us. Can we sit down and talk? And so in the sit down, they asked me to be quiet for 5 years. I took the 5 years because what I know is a lot more than most people know what I know, you know. I took the 5 years and I moved away from him. Because I had 17 months under my jurisdiction. I had an army of 1,000 men. And so I just let me get out of this thing because it ain't what people think it is. What the Arab world wanted was for the Muslims, Sunni Muslims here to be their tentacle in America. A lot of niggas bought into that and took that money. I didn't take their money. And so a lot of people didn't figure, well, who this nigga? Why he don't want no money? And you can't give me nothing. I'm a Geechee boy from South Carolina. I grew up on a friggin' plantation. My high school gift was a free ride to Yale. And I turned it down. You know,
Let's turn it up before my tape run out, because I definitely need to hear about this. When you found out Dr. Khalid Muhammad used to put a gun and a rifle to stand next to Farrakhan, what went through your mind when you found all that out?
I mean, that wasn't extraordinary for me. I lived an extraordinary life. So Khalid and I hit it off day one. First time I met this brother, you know, even though we were virtually at war with the nation, and even after I left Malcolm, the nation still considered themselves to be at war with me. But when I met Khalid, we were actually here in Atlanta at the second ASCAT conference. And Khalid and I did the workshop on spirituality together. First time I met the brother on spirituality. You know, I had to do some tutoring because he was coming from the Islamic thing. But we just hit it off because he wasn't really Nation of Islam. He was a black man.
That's when he had that afro, with the afro pick and all that.
No, he didn't have an afro pick then. He was in the nation now. He'd gotten out of prison. He had just gotten out of prison like a month or so before. And, you know, he was back out here on the circuit. He was, Khalid was, he was just a free dude. I was with Khalid Muhammad when he talked about the Pope, lifting the Pope dress. We were together at Kane College that night. I told him, do not let that white boy in. See, because Jeff and them had stopped the white boy at the door. So some people came in and told Khalid, we were sitting on the front, just talking. So he goes out the door, him and I, and he questions the white dude. Then he said, let him in. So the brothers who had invited us said, no, we don't want him in. Khalid said, no, let him in. That dude turned out to be the reporter that wrote the article that started all the problem. You know, so I was with Khalid in Baltimore the night Farrakhan announced his removal. I was also with him, and he got a letter from certain members of the nation threatening his life. Okay? This was in Baltimore, and so Collar was supposed to speak first, Baltimore Community College. Sister Jeffries came and told me there was the two first rows were full of FOIs. So Collar was crying. He was so angry and upset, the brother was crying. So Dr. Newton and me decided that I would go out and speak. And then Collar would come after me. So I went out there and challenged the FOI and made them all leave. When they walked out, then we brought Collar in. I was with Collar the night that when he got shot, I wasn't out there. But they called for Dr. Jeffries, but the Sons of Africa and Reggie and them decided that I should go and not have Doc go into some dangerous situation. So I went out to LA, and then I followed him down to Dallas. So I was with him in Dallas when he took that picture with that gun. That's when we met the new Black Panther Party for the first time. I knew that was a trick, because he wanted me standing there with another gun. I said, I ain't doing that shit. Somebody taking a picture with me standing in the dark with a damn gun in my hand. So I said, listen, y'all gonna do that? I'm going out the back door. So I went to the back door, checked out the alley, checked out the fence. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. He took that picture. 2 weeks later, that picture was on the front page of the New York Post, if you remember. Because you got to understand, when you out here like this, the setup man is already there. I got a baby by a police agent. So I understand how all this works. I'm not seeing a baby no more, you know. But, see, every one of you, the only person you know you can trust is you.
Fact. Nobody else.
You don't learn that early, you lose your head.
One more question, real quick. Talk to us about our brother Reggie's role, because a lot of us just sees Reggie and don't. We
Brother
think
Reggie.
he just popped up out of the blue.
No, Brother
Talk
Reggie,
to us about
that's
Brother
that.
Reggie.
Brother Reggie is like my son. I knew Seti, didn't know him, but I knew you because you were around Doc, and I knew your uncle, and you know Brother X. All of us rolling together. Brother, what's our elder name? Brother Dix. And one day I got a call from Brother Reggie telling me there's this brother named Seti. I go like, Seti? I don't know anybody. I said, yeah, he's about Detroit. I said, you know him, you know his uncle. Would you call this brother and talk to him? So, you know, I called all around, and then I found out who he was. So I went back to bed and said, you know what y'all need to do? Just cool out. Because I know who these families is. By the way.
Yeah, it's bringing us up.
3-4 years ago.
I didn't do that.
So, no, when I first met Reggie, because Reggie was a brother out in the street. He was doing a little gangster thing, like a lot of brothers do, including myself back in the day. I was a little burglar person, you know. I never got caught. So you only become a crook if you get caught.
Right.
You don't get caught.
It's not a crook.
It happened. So, Brother Reg was out there on the block, and Dr. Jeffries, I think, met his family. So Dr. Jeffries somehow hooked up with him and brought him into the city. And so we were running the Black Studies Department, which was one of the biggest in the country at the time. We had a strong force. So I met him coming in as Dr. Jeffries, almost like that Jeffries' son. And me and a brother Lionel and some other brothers, we had started from the first. We started a group called the Black Student something. But it was the men and the women together, but everybody was doing the bed hopping, the crazy, stupid thing. So I decided to separate the men from the women. So I came up with the idea of the Sons of Africa and the Daughters of Africa. And Dr. Jeffries bought it. Then we called Sister Jeannie Bain and Sister Jerry Price and said, would y'all be willing to do the Daughters of Africa component? Me and Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Scobie, we're going to do the Sons of Africa component. Let's create these two units and then have them come together to work on projects. So we chose Reggie to be the chair of the Sons. And it grew. You know, we started out where we grew into an organization of more than 80, 100 plus young men who we put through a process pretty much like craft. Everything we got was from the craft. We were actually doing a lot of those same rituals. And the whole idea was at a certain point they would come into the craft. We were even talking about pulling a cool and Prince Hall and taking it, you know.
That's what we were talking about yesterday.
So we created 3 layers. The Sons of Africa, which was called SOA, Sons of Light, Song, SOL, and Sons of Ultimate Light, Soul. Those are the 3 units. You got your orientation in the Sons of Africa, then you moved up and up. For the first few years, I was the head of all 3 units. Then we decided to pull back and create a council of elders, which is me, Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Scobie, then we brought in Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark. So we were the umbrella council of elders that would oversee the sons. And so that's how Reggie got his start in the movement. Reggie was the chair. And, you know, we opened our karate component, which we call Tiariki. And we did the stick fighting. We had the spiritual component, which I took care of, along with Shashi McIntyre. And so that's what he comes out of. And so when we started ASCAC, I became the third after Brother Dix. I became the president of the Eastern Region. And I would raise $50,000 a year just to send to Jake and them in Chicago. Now the reason I left, because nobody was accounting for my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here busting my butt, raising this money to pay for the office rent, to pay for computers, to pay the secretary's salary, and y'all ain't gonna give me no reports. So you know what y'all do with this here? Stuff it, I'm out. You know? And so Reggie was my vice president, and me and Reggie fell out because I just resigned, and a lot of them thought I should have stayed, and I wasn't gonna stay in a place I thought had become unprincipled. And so I resigned. This was when ASCAC was at its peak.
Can you talk to us a little bit about...
Let me just finish this piece for Reggie. But Reggie is really a good brother. He's just an honorary Negro. He's kind of like you. That's what, you know. But he's really a good brother. He was studying computer science, which he's very good at. Then he took the program with the community law program. And of course, you know, they backstabbed him there. But he took them on in court himself. He wouldn't get a lawyer. And he actually won the case. You know. They in the end, when they do the appeal, they always beat you on the appeal thing. But originally he won the case because he took it himself, and they got mad with how come this nigga ain't got no law degree, beat us with all these lawyers. So they went after him, and he suffered financially and got embittered. He thought a lot of us should have come to his aid more. But when we came to his aid, he said he didn't want our help.
That's Reggie.
You know?
That's my brother Reggie.
And so, but he's a beautiful young brother. About 20 years ago, I turned the pilgrimage to Malcolm's grave over to him and the Sons of Africa. I still come along, but they've been doing it because I figure when I'm dead and gone, I want to make sure it's still going on. So give it to the youngsters. And so he's always been in the movement, all of his adult life.
Did I hear you say Reggie was nice with his?
Oh, but yeah, we had a good, you know, those brothers work out for more. They practiced at least a decade. They were in the Tiariki.
You know, him and Shaka is like this.
Yeah.
Wait. Whenever I get them two together,
Yes.
it's hell. With him and Shaka.
What about the agent thing?
Go ahead.
I want to know about the agent thing because we need to... Yeah, that's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
We need to be able to... We need to be able to watch out for ourselves and protect ourselves. How did you get a baby with a police agent?
Because she was fine.
They sent one.
She was fine.
like.
They knew the brother's profile, pedigree.
I'm serious, bro. I'm cold. I got
Slide it over here.
Yeah, no, because see, you know, when we were out here in the 60s, we didn't have all the knowledge y'all have. We didn't know about COINTELPRO then. You didn't have that history to work with. And so people rolled up on you who had the fro and wore the black and talked the talk and knew how to be sweet. You just, you know, you got to remember, I'm 20-something years old in the early end of the 20s. You ain't turning out no honey. You know what I'm saying? And so it just happened. I wouldn't find out until...
anymore.
Oh, please. They're more sophisticated now than ever, brother. They don't come around me because I'm like a magnet. I know how to recognize them. So they would never send people around me. But what you've got to understand is that once you're clear on your ideology and your belief, once you're clear on your spiritual concepts and you embed that in you, you can recognize anybody else who fake it. But you have to become who you say you are. See, that's the key. If I know who I am, I know who we all are. Okay? That's why that thing about man, know thyself. If you know who you are, then you know who anybody that comes around you. Because they don't, an agent isn't somebody who's on the police force and they say you're going to get an assignment. This is somebody who's trained to do just that. And the one thing they do is de-emphasize police behavior. So Army intelligence used to snatch dudes right off the street of Harlem, all right, and train them in their skills, but leave intact their street and put them back on the street. You think you got a brother up, this is your hanging, drinking with you, shooting shit with you, and that's the man. He be broke all the time. So you don't think nothing because he broke just like you. But he ain't really broke, you know what I'm saying? And so their thing is to control the black community. What we've got to be clear about, and the way you know who an agent is, know who you are. If you know who you are, you always know how to recognize. The thing we got to be sensitive about is not to accuse people who are not, because that's dangerous and hurtful. But you have to be.
Right. Now, in the realm of the spirits, and the spirit, and the ancestors, why has there never been a 3-tier ring of going to the ancestors to find out checks and balances? If somebody comes to the organization,
there is.
Bring this to the ancestors.
There is.
And bring it to another set of ancestors to
there
test
is.
what's told,
There is such a thing, but y'all don't use it. There is such a thing.
Okay.
But see, y'all be seeing me, y'all go like, oh, I don't know what that Negro is. I never leave home without my shit.
Right, you sure? So you act right.
I be checking out every action, all action, every day, all the time.
Right.
But this ain't just some shells. There's a science based on mathematics and probability and statistics.
I'm sorry, is his bill also is gonna be in that bill?
Yes.
I would like you to check everything. So no, it's ready.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So thank you. So when you understand like these, if you use 16 of these, F5, these are special 5, and there's only 2 ways it can fall, that way or this way. But there's any other configuration where it lands and in relation to each other. Now, probability and statistics says no matter how many times you throw them, there's only a few thousand ways they can fall, and you have to learn all of those ways. Then there's the repetitivism. What is the possibility of any of these configurations repeating themselves? And so what the ancestors did is assign a meaning to each one of the configuration. No. You do that? No, I'll take this. And so once you learn that those cowrie shells is not just a game, that is a mathematical science based on spirituality. Then you see, now you got fakes out here now. You got fake niggas out here, call themselves Yoruba this, they been to Nigeria, they done spend all the money, but they never mastered the system. It's a science. But there are people who have mastered the system. Some right in Harlem, right in Brooklyn, who really know. Problem, a lot of them, they charge so much money to do these readings. When I was coming up, Bubba Searchman and them, they took care of us. We ain't had no money. But them brothers let you know, hey, brother Small, don't go there around. In the field, they ain't for your ass. Don't go there. Don't do this. And so we had people who helped us.
Being, like the brother said, one of our esteemed elders in the community, do you have any plans of, to leave the legacy intact, to create some sort of lodge system for the young guard?
For $200, what should the tip be? How much? It's $200 to get tips.
10,
20.
10%. Yes.
So you just support the Russian lady.
Yes.
Wait, Bruce, before we go into the lodge, what do you think about the I King?
It's a good system.
Now, when I was talking about 3-tier systems, I'm saying go to the shells, go to the I Ching, maybe sit with a priest.
Somebody from among you, a few people, and send them into training in these systems. And if you've got somebody already trained in the system, he needs to start tutoring the rest of you in these spiritual systems. They're really called divination systems. But spiritual systems is deeper. So find the person among you.
I started teaching I King classes, but it's so much more questions that people was asking. I
You
slowed
pick
down
up
on
you
the
pick up that
classes.
book last night that you started looking in. You ever read that book before? Get it and read it. It's called the Threefold Lotus Sutra. Master that book. Those are the three most significant of all the Buddhist sutras that ever came down. Those three sutras, you'll see all of the orishas in there. You'll see all the metas in there. By different names. You just got to know what the quality of the metta is, the quality of the orisha is. Get that book. And in the very first sutra, in the very first sutra,
For anything else I can get for you, more juice or coffee?
No.
Everybody's fine so far?
y'all okay?
Threefold.
Lotus Sutra. It's a deep, deep piece.
Yeah, I was
And remember, the Buddhist system is an African system. It's just an African system that developed a little bit more to the east. But these are Africans developing the system. And they tried to replicate the same system they had back in Kemet. Okay. That same system moves into the mountains and create Kung Fu. That same system creates Tai Chi and all the other martial arts karate forms. None of the karate forms was martial. Martial was the minimal addendum to the forms. Martial meaning the fight.
yeah.
All of the forms were spiritual. But to protect the spiritual essence, you needed the martial. And so once you get and understand that, the rest of the shit is easy. Good enough. No, that's somebody steady. Oh, okay. Hi sis. How y'all doing?
You got the shirt too, bro.
Oh yeah.
I need that.
What happened, Detroit? I'm missing you.
No, which one?
Wait, that's your shirt?
No, he be having